Hey everybody, it's Richard Seaman coming at you today from SLCT, Seattle Life Coach Training. And we are here today to bring you a very powerful, amazing masterclass on developing your spiritual gifts, learning how to be an intuitive guide for yourself and for others. And we say thank you for being here. Tonight, we are here with Candace Parisi, who is one of the transformational authors of SLCT Online. And SLCT Online, our mission is all about designing learning experiences, and we publish teachings by the best authors in transformational education. And Candace Parisi is definitely that person. She's an amazing transformational educator in the world. And a lot of you know her from your Facebook Lives, and she's done some amazing work. And so I just want to say welcome to this, and so thank you to this masterclass that we're about to bring to you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Richard Seaman, and I am a transformational educator. I'm also the founder and director of Seattle Life Coach Training, or slctonline.com. And we're here tonight to really bring you a ton of value. So what value are we bringing in? Who are you, my dear Candace?
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
welcome.
Richard.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Hi, I'm Candace Parisi. For those who don't know me, I am a intuitive counselor, professional intuitive counselor for over 25 years. I'm a spiritual teacher, and I teach people about how to develop their own intuition, and a world traveler. And I am so excited about this masterclass. I'm so excited about teaching you how to become your own intuitive guide. It is very exciting, and I'm very glad that you're here.
So we want to ask you as we step into this night, because we've got so much value to bring to you tonight. I mean, there's been like so much value. We've been like working on this for the last few weeks. And what I ask you to do is share. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, so please, if you know anybody who could benefit from this, share, comment, let us know what you're thinking. Like, just throw yourself out there. This is an interactive class. We're going to just be teaching you and not really interacting with you so much, but we are super, super excited that you're here, and we are going to see every single thing that you put out there toward us. And if we could get lots of hearts.
Lots of hearts.
Bring the hearts. So it's a strange format because we're here and we're just talking at you, but the hearts is kind of like your way of talking back to us. Thank you. There they are.
Yeah, there they are. Give us some hearts. Give us some love.
Thank you. Good.
It's good to see everybody. It's so nice to see you. So I don't know where you all are from and what area they're from, but I do know that we're in Arizona and the weather is actually a little cloudy. But we just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. This is our very first masterclass, and we've been working on this for a long time, so we're just going to just go with it. And what I absolutely know is that I have been doing this work for a very long time, and Candace has been doing this work. So just simply, would you be willing to just talk a little bit about what you do as a counselor, as an intuitive counselor, as a psychic? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what I do is I tap into my own intuition. I'm a natural intuitive. And so since I was a kid, I've been working on my intuitive muscle, just like as if I was, going to the gym, but I'm going to like an intuitive gym. I work on that every single day. And since I was turned right into being an adult, I have been a professional intuitive where I have a full clientele all the time, and I'm able to propel people forward in where they want to go with their life and what they want to do, and give people clear direction. And then my other very big passion is teaching people how to do that on their own. I'm the middleman. I'm able to see the things that you don't see. But my passion is teaching you how to see the things that I see so that you can be your own intuitive guide every single minute of the day, so that you are pushing forward in your life in such a profound way and in creating exactly what you want. And so that's my passion. And so that's why this is so exciting to me tonight. So I'm really glad that you guys are all here.
A lot of you don't know that Candace is a profound medium and a psychic. And she does this work for a living, and you have global clients all over the world. And what you probably don't know is that Candace also has an amazing class online. And it's on slctonline.com. And she literally is going to take you through a 5-week course. And we're going to talk about that more. And what we want to talk about tonight, right now, is a little about the topics that we're going to hit tonight. About talking about developing your spiritual gifts and how you can develop your own intuition and become your own intuitive guide for yourself and for others. And what really I think is important is a lot of you see the power that Candace has. And you have to get that you have the same power within you.
Oh, yeah, everybody's intuitive. That's the first. So topic number 1 tonight. So let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Because we have so much to talk about today and so much practical information to give you. So the very first thing is that everybody's intuitive. Your gut feeling. Everybody's got your gut feeling. Everybody's got a hunch or feeling about something or someone. That's your gut and your dreams and your empathy is the first steps to developing your intuition. Everybody's got that. Now, to develop further than that, like developing a relationship with your spirit guides, developing the ability to be clairvoyant or a medium, that takes more. And so, but my whole passion sits around the knowing that people can become their own intuitive guide. You can become your own psychic. And that's what's so extraordinary, and that's what's so extraordinary about this class.
So when you talk about this gut, right, because so many people understand that word, that I have a gut feeling. And that's what people probably would start with, right?
Oh yeah, you start with that feeling. Like everybody, usually the first gut feeling that you have is almost always the truth. And then the second thing that happens is your brain goes, but wait a second, let's try this first, And so it's learning how to differentiate between your gut and your brain, because your brain's a little trickier, right? Your brain's a little much. And so your intuition is always very clear and straightforward.
Beautiful. So let's move into the second principle that we're going to talk about tonight. And again, we're just teaching. It's a different format than we normally do. But here's the next one. So what is the definition of intuition? I'm just going to read to you a little bit of what I created. And this is what, and I want you to really resonate with this, and it's this. Intuition, the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. Something that someone knows from an instinctive feeling rather from a conscious reasoning. So the piece to this is that intuition is not something that we need to overprocess from our mental mind. It's just what I say is this crystal clear channel of clarity that you just know that you know that you know. There really is no way to consciously reason your way out of it, or like why do I know this? There's no scientific proof, and so many people are looking for the science behind it.
Yeah, no. It's a present moment scenario. You can't pre-think about it. That's what's so extraordinary about it. It's very uncertain. It's very right in the moment. You get this feeling or this this hit. You say that a lot. I get a hit.
I get a hit, or this piece of me that just drops. I just have this crystal knowing.
What does that mean when it drops or it hits you?
So there's this part of me that I know that I can process my intuition from only one place, from my knowing. So my head is not my intuition. My heart is this compassion and love piece. But when I really am developing or in my intuition, I process from my lower level, which is my center of who I am. And it's that place that divine knowing is just present in me. And I just have a hit that's the truth, right? That's the truth. And and if I'm up here in my head, I can't try to figure it out, right? And so what I'm trying to say is that it's just a knowing that you have that you can't consciously reason your way out of it. Right. If someone says, how do you know that? I don't know how I know that. I just know that I know.
How did you get to that place where you can drop, and what does that feel like? What is the practical application behind dropping for you?
I think for myself, it's this work that I've been doing, and the work that I've been doing for so long is that, we'll talk about this later, but for me, it's getting still and getting quiet, right?
Yeah.
And I think that in this world that we spend so much time in our life, and we're so busy, and we're so much going on, and this moment is just allowing ourselves to go quiet for a minute, And that's when that crystal clear channel of clarity comes in. And that for me is what intuition is.
I love that. That's perfect.
Good. So what's our third topic?
Okay, our third one is everyone was born with a primal instinct to protect and survive. Intuition is that place within you that has evolved from instinct to intuition. So what this means to me is that human beings are an animal, just like other animals. We all have a brain that wants to survive. We just want to make it. We just want to try to survive the scenarios. Now that part of our brain is not necessarily intuitive, it's instinctual. It's, I've got to get out of here. Where intuition is a softer place where there isn't a lot of judgment. Intuition is more of here is the information, and doesn't have that pull to fight or flight like our brain does. And so, the brain is really important, but the brain is just there to problem solve. We're just we just use our brain to be able to tie our shoes, be able to wash our car, be able to know where we're going next, and it's a muscle. It's a fleshy muscle that works for us just like our liver works for us. And so, but our intuition is unseeable and unknowable, and it's a quick instinct in us that's very powerful and non-judgmental. It's not something that our brain can do.
So I think it's fascinating to me, Candace, because when we think about, we go from instinct to intuition, okay? What's your intuition tell you about how we as a civilization, as human beings, went from this place of instinct to intuition?
So I think that when we were, cavemen, it was very important to make sure that the bear doesn't get us, right? Or it's very important that we survive because we need to make a fire and hunt for something. Now we're in a position where there's more flexibility, that we can relax, that we can have time to meditate, that we can have time to connect to our highest self. To our inner guidance. I think that back in the day that was harder to do, but now we have luxuries. And the luxury is that you can tap into that source in you that's quiet and still and propels you forward and gives you direction that isn't exactly like run for your life, there's a bear chasing you, but is a more subtle voice of your own guidance that's always with you, co-creating your life.
And I find it interesting because I think that we as a human civilization have grown as we've had more resources at our fingertips that have taught us this. And we've actually, just like you said, we've developed this brain part of us. Our brain is as a muscle and our intuition is a muscle. And we've increased our knowledge and now we can have a name for it. Do you think that in the Neanderthal days that they had an intuition but didn't even know how to put words to it?
Oh, for sure. They definitely had an intuition or else they wouldn't be alive.
Right.
Every plant and animal has an intuition. I think that we just either pay attention to it or we don't. There's nobody who isn't intuitive. There's nothing that isn't intuitive.
We just gave name to it.
Yeah.
And they didn't have name or they didn't have the knowledge. I think that's the beautiful thing about this. So the bottom line is that, we went from instinct to intuition, but we still have an instinct.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And sometimes you got to use it.
Right.
You got to get away from the bear, right?
Right.
But we're not chased by the bear very often, and so we can use our feelings and our gut and our empathy, and so that we can connect to not being in the area where the bear is in the first place.
You just know better.
It's preventative.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we have more knowledge now.
Yeah.
Instinctively and intuitively not to go there.
Yes.
Okay. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
All right. Let's go to the fourth principle. So intuition is as simple as when we were thinking about someone and then you call or you text, or they call and they text you. Or maybe it's the first thing that you said in the morning when you wake up and something during the day confirms that you knew that already earlier that day. So what I think is interesting is that I know for a fact that every single person relates to this. So you think of somebody in the day. You think of someone that maybe you've never thought about for years, or maybe you think about someone that may be in distress and they're maybe hurting or they're maybe not feeling well, and you just automatically in the shower or somewhere you get this absolute knowledge that I'm thinking about them.
Have you guys ever done that? Where you feel this connection? Can we get some hearts on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you feel this connection to somebody, like you need to call your mom, or there's somebody that you love that you just have this empathy for. There's something in your heart for them, and you know that you need to do something about it. That's your gut feeling. That's intuition. So you're already using it.
Yeah, and I think that's the part, is that so many of you, I think it's a mystical presence that has to be like, like it's going to come down, like, it's going to strike you and you're going to have this intuition. You already have it. It's operating in you all the time without an interruption. And I think that most of us, what I'm trying to say, and I think Candace is trying to say to you, is that it's inside of you already. It's just a matter of acknowledging that was my intuition telling me that something's up with that person.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up, but that smell, I have a certain instinct or a certain sense or a certain moment where I have to I wonder why I thought about them today. And then what we should do with that is make that call, make that text, because that's nudging you and saying, hey, that person might need some attention today. Or maybe you shouldn't take that trip today. Or maybe you shouldn't go that pathway to work today, because who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to develop your intuition, because then you have your own personal assistant that fully helps you in those scenarios where you have a clear, direct connection to what you really should do next. What's the best direction? What is the direction to your passion and purpose in life, and what you can do? You can have this incredible magical life. You can really just have whatever you want. You can manifest the things that you want in your life. And so this is what's so great about developing that. Because everybody has it, but it's in developing it. Yeah.
It's all about developing, and you got to do your work, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So what's our next topic?
Okay. How do you know the difference between your mind and intuition? Your mind is cognitive and needs to understand. Your intuition isn't evidence-based, and it doesn't need rational thought or a mental inference. So, how do you know the difference between your mind and intuition? So this is a huge question. I teach a lot of classes on intuitive development. And I get two questions, and this is the first one. Well, I feel intuitive, but sometimes I get confused because my mind, tells me one thing, and then I feel like my intuition tells me another thing, and I don't know which one is which. And so that's why developing, using specific formulas to develop your intuition is so important, because then you can start differentiating, and really when you develop your intuition, your mind turns down and your intuition turns up, and so you start to notice that your intuition is louder than your brain. But that's what the development piece is about. It's about you connecting to your intuition and starting to have confirmations in your own life, so you know who you are and you believe in what you're talking about and what you feel inside of yourself, and you have evidence. As humans, we need evidence. And that's what's so great about developing your intuition and doing it in a certain formulaic way, is that at the end of that formula, you have concrete evidence that you are intuitive, and then you can start to trust that. Does that make sense?
It does. And the question I have for you, Candace, is this. So when we're talking about the difference between your intuition and your mind, okay, I feel like there's a part of this that so many people are confused with. But what if I said to you this? Your intuition is a place of peace. Your mind is a place of chaos. Talk about that.
Yeah, and so, with your mind, it's about having a problem and solving it. Having a problem and solving it. With intuition, it's very peaceful and free-flowing, like a brook, like a stream. Your brain is not like a stream. It's like a tumultuous relationship. It's up and down.
Problem solver.
It is, and it's great. It's a great tool. It just doesn't have anything to do with
intuition.
It's a completely different tool. It's two different tools. And so that's what's so amazing about developing it, because people's minds your mind can tell you all sorts of stuff.
But usually your mind is telling you things aren't true.
That's true.
But your intuition,
building a story.
It's building a story. It's great. But your intuition's telling you the truth.
Yeah, your mind,
Is that
your
correct?
yes, that is correct. And
Yes.
your intuition can't build a story. It can only tell you the truth in the moment and then move on. Where your brain is telling you something that building a story from something that's happened in the past to you.
Yeah, you have evidence, which we talked about earlier. And for me, again, it's that crystal clear channel of clarity. It's just clear.
Yeah.
I just know.
Yeah.
And when I know something, that doesn't follow up with chaos. It's not like followed up with drama. You just have a clear knowing that's usually peaceful.
Yeah.
And maybe it isn't always peaceful, because a lot of people say, well, what if I have a knowing that I've seen this on some of your lives, like my boyfriend's cheating on me. That doesn't bring you
No.
peace. But what does that bring you?
But it does bring you the truth. And your brain is not necessarily interested in the truth.
Right.
Intuition is always your most honest friend.
Right.
Yeah. It's your most honest best friend. It's like having a best friend who just tells you straight out how it is.
Like this one.
Yeah, this guy. This
Right?
one. Yeah, I don't...
We
there-
are truth tellers. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that I know for myself, and I know Candace for myself, that in the work that I do in the world, my work is intuitional. And sometimes I say things that come flying out of my mouth, and I'm like, whoops. But usually that whoops is exactly what they need to hear.
Yeah, sometimes it can be confronting because we don't naturally tell ourselves the truth sometimes. Sometimes we can get stuck in our story from like 10 years ago
Is your intuition a truth teller?
100% of the time. Because it can only happen in the moment that you're connecting to it, and it has no story. It has no backstory. It doesn't have a history. Your
Yeah.
intuition doesn't connect to the history. It only connects to the moment. And so your spirit guides, for instance, who are your source of your intuition, isn't connecting to something that happened yesterday. You are connecting to the present moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that is what the difference is between intuition and your mind. And I think that's really profound. And I think that every single one of you can relate to that. That you get that your mind is full of problem solving and your intuition is a crystal clear channel of knowing. And that comes with peace most of the time.
Is this exciting to you guys? Like this stuff, like I don't know. I guess everybody gets excited about all sorts of things, but this stuff gets me very, very excited. Any sort of like inner journey, inner discovery stuff. That's what's so great about intuition, is that you get to discover yourself.
And can you imagine if the world, like generally, like let's say that even 50% of the world were operating from their intuitional navigational system inside of them,
Oh my
that
gosh.
inner guide that you talk about, how would the world change?
Everybody would be in the right place at the right time,
Right.
and come from a place of integrity, profound integrity, and truth that is far beyond where a lot of us are at now.
And I feel like the vibration would shift in the whole world, because if we start to step into our inner intuition and walk from that place of peace and that place of knowing, the world would shift energetically.
Yes.
Would it not?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's a profound thought.
It totally is.
And these are the reasons why it's so important for us to develop our intuition, because it's going to change the way you operate, and it's also going to contribute to the greater higher good of the world.
For sure.
Let's move into the next topic.
Okay.
All right, so what are the reasons to develop your intuition? Let's talk about those. And there's quite a few of those that we're going to hit today. So the first one is your intuition always puts you on the right pathway, personally, professionally, and spiritually. So I'm going to just talk about this. So for me, I know that my intuition has always guided me to the right place, thing, experience, person, house, car. Example, when I first bought a house that I live in Phoenix, intuitionally something told me that I should go to this house on my journey. And I remember it was like, that's kind of a little bit of a different neighborhood than I would normally live in. But I remember I told the realtor, I want to go look at this house because I had a feeling about it.
Yeah.
And I walked into my house, and the moment I got through the foyer, I said to him, first house by me of 3 days of looking for homes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said to him, this is my house.
Yeah.
And he said, but we just started.
I'm like, no, this is
And
it.
I said, this is my house. And it is my house.
Yeah.
It's been my house for 5 years.
Yeah.
And after 3 days of traveling and looking at different houses, I kept saying to him, that's my house. Let's go back. And so I think that we can all relate to that, is that we just have this idea that intuition always puts you on the right pathway. And when we start to navigate with our intuition in the world, it's like a flawless moment of ease and grace, because you're being guided, for me, by this something greater than yourself.
Oh yeah, and that's a great example. I think that that's the big joy in having, the clients that I have. Somebody comes to me with something that seems like they have brought it over in their mind over and over again. How do I do this? How do I create this? How do I develop? What I'm so stuck, and then I use my intuition and point them in a direction, and there's this aha moment where you're like, oh. And then
and they usually already knew it.
Yeah, they already knew it.
But they didn't listen because this got in the way.
Yeah, and they
go, already knew that.
Yeah, and I say it in a way that like the person can hear it, and it comes through me in a way that's powerful, and then they can move forward and have direction and feel like they have direction in their life.
See, I find that profound, because this is a profound statement. So if intuition always puts you on the right pathway, personally, professionally, and spiritually, people don't trust it.
Right.
But then they have to come to someone like you to validate it.
Right, and then once it's validated, they're like, yeah. And it's not always like that. Some people just don't connect to it at all, or they don't see the direction, or it's hard to like tell the truth sometimes. If you're like embroiled in a relationship that doesn't belong to you, or you're in a job that you want to keep but it doesn't feel right. We build relationships with things we don't belong with, and so.
But that's because we were not listening to our intuition.
Yeah.
I bet you $1,000 that those people, you like that? Should I give you $1,000?
Yes.
You're gonna lose just so
I'm ready.
But here's the piece, that so many people already know that relationship wasn't the right relationship for them.
Oh, of course, you have that first gut feeling,
but they still did it.
Yeah, you still do it because you want a security blanket. Yeah, people want to feel secure. They don't want to feel alone. But that's the great thing about developing your intuition, is because you realize that you're not alone after all. You realize that you have this guidance that you've had since you were born that is co-creating your life with you, and you were never alone for one moment.
Never. So back to the principle. Your intuition will always guide you to the right pathway in your life, personally, professionally, and spiritually. And I know that for myself, and so does Candace. So what's our next reason that we should develop our intuition? Your relationships will change and soften.
Okay, so watch out. Okay, so relationships are tricky waters, right? Because people who we become close to in a relationship is kind of our mirror. And so if we're rough with ourselves, or we lie to ourselves, or we don't connect to ourselves, then we have a hard time in our relationship. So does anybody feel that? Does anybody have that in their life, where sometimes they have that interpersonal relationship that doesn't work for them? That's what relationships are, is a direct mirror. It's a connection to your own intuitive sense.
So how do they soften?
So it softens when you decide to drop down, like you said, when you decide to not work from your head. And of course you can work from your emotions, but more importantly, working from your gut, in a place that you can connect to your loved one in a way that is more profoundly loving, from a place that you aren't you're doing that jerking thing where you want to protect yourself and serve the other, or be codependent. You don't do that anymore, because you're coming from a place of just pure love.
And how does your intuition bring you more love?
So intuition is pure love. And so if you are every day working on that muscle, everything in your life will start to reflect that muscle that you're working on. And so if you have conflicts now in relationships, you have conflicts now with family, with your job, those conflicts soften because you change your relationship with yourself and your own guidance.
Wow. So the idea that people that are listening today could soften in their relationships. So how many of you could really use some softening in your relationships? And we're not just talking relationships with your romantic relationship. We're talking in every relationship.
Oh yeah, with your own kids. With
if
everybody.
you could use some softening, give us some hearts, because I know that this is an important aspect of our vibration changing. This brings me, Candace, to a quote that I know, and it's that it says that every relationship is a classroom.
Yes.
Every relationship,
Yes.
like you're that, guys. Every relationship is a classroom.
Yes, hearts on that.
Stop and think about that.
Yeah.
Because that's so profound. So how does that, how do you speak about that? Teach us about that.
Sometimes you're in a class and you don't know how to do any of the stuff. And sometimes...
And you want to withdraw.
Yeah, you want to withdraw, you want to quit,
Right.
you want to... And sometimes you need to quit. Sometimes you're just in the wrong relationship.
Right.
Sometimes the relationships, within your life, it's time to let them go. And that's what's, again, about
Even
intuition.
that's part of your class.
That's part of your class. Sometimes you need to drop out. Sometimes you need to invest more.
Not my classes, though.
No,
Or
mine
Candace's
either. Yeah,
classes.
that's my classes. Let's keep it clear.
Right.
Our classes are going well.
No dropouts.
But if you join our class, don't. Yeah. But there's
But that might be the class that you got to learn how to let go and release.
Yeah, and some
Right.
people, like, there's some classes, there's no win in it for you. Like, you're on a journey, right? So at the beginning of a relationship, you could be one person that is not connected to your intuition, but then you connect and things shift. And if the other person isn't on your journey, then things shift and maybe you're not on the right path anymore.
So as they soften, I think that part of this softening takes me to this. That not only is every relationship a classroom, but we also have contracts with certain people in our classroom and relationships. And when we soften and our intuition says my contract is up, that's a big piece of work that you got to soften and not let your ego get involved and not let other people feed you. He's a good person, he's a good provider.
Right.
That it's not supporting you. So even the softening is that I'm trusting my intuition is guiding me to let the contract go.
Yeah, there's an idea in the spiritual community that no is a bad word. And I feel that no is an incredibly spiritual word. Sometimes you just need to tell the truth, and the truth is no. And so...
No is a very clear sentence.
It is. You don't even have to say anything beyond that.
Right.
And in your gut, you'll get a clear, as you develop your intuition, you'll get a clear no or yes on lots of things. And we want to be likable. And so we don't want to say no. But no is sometimes the truth, even in relationships.
And I think that's sometimes the thing that we can do the best for people is sometimes release them. Release them from the class, release them, withdraw, or let the contract go.
Yeah.
All right, so we should move to our next topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So the next topic is this. Another reason why you should develop your intuition is that your career path will become clear and easy, and you will ultimately make more money. Okay, so I can tell you that in the beginning of my career, creating SLCT, Seattle Life Coach Training, and doing the things that I'm doing, that every step that I've taken, every decision that I've made in my career choices has been intuitional.
Yes.
There is this awareness that I have, or I have a clear message in a dream, or I get a clear idea in something, or I be journaling about something, or I'm talking to somebody, and all of a sudden it takes me to a new decision in my career.
Yes.
And I will promise you 100% that without that, me trusting my intuitional guidance system within me, that personal guide within me, it's like this awesome CEO that lives inside of me called intuition. And it's every time it's been perfectly, precisely correct.
Yes.
And that has led me to clear pathways of my career, and then ultimately being on purpose in my life, doing what I was here to put on this earth to do, which then ultimately, I know this is going to like all of you, which ultimately led to more money.
Of course. And that's the exchange of life. It is what we do. We exchange paper for service, right? Or paper for product. And so I think that has always been something that is a highlight inside of doing, inside of growing your intuition and inside of any sort of personal readings, is that people want to know how to manifest more money in their life.
And they should.
Yeah.
Because this is what I always believe, that we will be compensated in the same degree we bring value into the world.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So we will be compensated in the same degree that we bring value into the world. Mm-hmm. Which means to me is that we got to get that we are not mystics in a monastery. We're human beings that live on the world, mm-hmm. that live on the earth, and we have rent and we have bills to pay. Mm-hmm. And we've got to get that when we let our intuition guide us, that intuition will take us to the right pathway in our career. And then from that right pathway, mm-hmm. which means right use.
Yes.
So think about this, mm-hmm. okay? Candace and myself are great examples of right use of our life. And from that right use, we're in alignment.
Yes.
And then that brings us the compensation back. It's not about always making the money. It's about what is my contribution in the world.
Yes.
So I'm going to repeat. So we will be compensated in the same degree we bring value into the world. And it's okay for you to make money.
Yeah.
It's okay to have more money than you can spend.
Yes.
I think if you use your life path in the right way.
Yeah, we're all here to discover and connect to our passion and purpose. And when we discover and we connect to our passion and purpose, mm-hmm. and we can do that very easily through developing our intuition and seeing it and being in the right place at the right time, then the easy exchange to that is ease in money, ease in our life, not just money,
right.
but ease in every area of our life. Yep, mm-hmm. We feel rich in our relationships. Mm-hmm. We feel rich in our career. We feel rich in our life.
Because it's about being clear.
Yes.
And the thing that's worse in the whole world mm-hmm. is to be in a job or stuck in a career that you know you're not supposed to be in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then there's this part of you that's struggling, and mm-hmm. you're constantly, you're going to work, you're doing this grind, you're doing the thing, mm-hmm. but you also know that something's calling you. And mm-hmm. how do you know something's calling you? Your intuition is going to tell you.
And how do you trust it? Developing your intuition and feeling like you have the confirmation in your life to move forward in that way, and trust that you're going to be guided in your own life. Like you're here to do something mm-hmm. besides show up to your job and go to bed.
Mm-hmm. But I want to give an example,
mm-hmm.
okay? So many years ago, I used to wait tables, mm-hmm. okay, way back, okay?
Right.
And I knew this
mm-hmm. in
every exchange that I would have with every single table.
Yeah.
You think this is about me serving you food?
Right? Yeah.
This is my stage. This is my birthing ground for mm-hmm. my greatest self.
Yes.
Does this make sense?
Yes, 100%.
So intuitionally, I knew this is not about me slinging pasta.
Mm-mm.
This is not about me bringing you another iced tea.
Yes.
This is about me having a training ground
mm-hmm.
so I can get on my pathway.
Right.
And make more money.
Mm. What is your passion and purpose?
Right.
What is your passion and purpose? And what about you do you feel like that you need to do to move forward and inside of your own intuition? Are you intuitive? Do you feel like this resonates with you? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you want to move forward in an intuitive way?
What I would say to you is that every single person that's listening today, you do have an intuition.
Yeah, or you wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Intuition is probably what guided you here.
Yeah, it's a right place, right time scenario.
Right?
Yeah.
So I call it divine order, divine timing.
Yes.
And so if you're here tonight, you know that there is an intuition that drew you here. Mm-hmm. And the two of us are highly intuitive people.
Just stupid intuitive.
Yeah, it is about getting to your highest and greatest self. And your intuition is going to be the culprit for that. I promise you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jen. Nice to see you.
Hey.
Okay, what's our next piece of work here, Candace? Okay.
You will start to know you are in the right place at the right time, just what we were just talking about.
Divine timing.
Right. Mm-hmm. You will fall deeply in love with yourself and mm-hmm. stop feeling alone in the world. Mm-hmm. So that's the big piece that is so extraordinary. I think that when we are in this world, sometimes we can feel like we're all alone doing it. And in fact, my experience, in my many years of doing this, is that everybody has their own spirit guides. Everybody has their own connection to their own source, and you're never alone. And so we make decisions from a fear-based place because we're afraid of being alone a lot of the time. We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of looking
We make
stupid.
the wrong choices because we're afraid to be alone.
Right.
We go into the wrong relationships and the wrong jobs because we're going to be, or we feel we're going to be alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so that's what's so great about developing your intuition is that you have a very close connection to the guidance that's already there. It's just you learning how to do it.
Right.
It's just you learning how to connect to that and having that connection and it being strong and it being validated.
Right. And so, the piece to this is that something that I always love about you, Candace, is that how you talk about how people that develop their intuition will become more profoundly in love with themselves.
Yes.
And that's a big statement because I want you to think about what I just said. How many people out there can say that they're profoundly in love with themselves, right? By developing your intuition, you're going to go deep, deep into yourself and you're going to discover a part of yourself that you didn't even know existed, which is your deepest, highest version of yourself. And that deepest, highest version of yourself is locked in your intuition.
Yes.
And you always talk about this.
Yes.
Let's fall in love with ourselves.
Let's fall in love with ourselves. Like you're with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do you love yourself?
Yes. Sorry. I'm trying not to cuss tonight.
So,
yes.
Here's the thing is that, I know for myself, and I think you can speak to this.
Yeah.
Okay? I love being alone. Now I think some people find that selfish.
Okay.
And some people find that weird. I'm like some weirdo. But there's nothing better than being alone. Because I love myself. And I'm way better by myself usually than I'm with other people.
Yeah, because then you have to...
But I've developed it.
Yes. That's the thing is that you're with you so much. Like from birth to death, you're only with you the longest.
Right.
And so why not
I like that.
love you the most, right? Why not love you the most out of anything?
Right.
Why not be stoked on yourself? Why not develop that? We want to love people or love things.
And
or
you
love...
have that. You know that, right?
Yeah.
As long as I've known you, in the very short amount of time I've known you, I know that you are absolutely in love with yourself.
God. And not in an egotistical way, just in a I'm a messy, weird,
all of you,
awkward human, and I'm totally into it.
And you are.
Yeah.
And I think that the more I get to know you, the more I get that you are this awkward, but you freaking embrace all your awkwardness.
Totally. Yeah, all the negatives and the positives and all the things. I'm totally into it.
Yeah.
And that's because I have this guidance in my life that makes me, that doesn't make me, that invites me to feel grounded and clear and centered in myself in such an extraordinary way that there's nowhere else to go but love myself.
So how many of you want to fall deeply in love with yourself? Right? This is what I want to know. How many of you want to fall deeply in love with yourself? And the access point to that is developing your intuition, because there's this personal
100%.
guide in you that's begging you to listen. Begging you to listen, right? Just begging you.
Yes.
It's let me love you you want to be loved. And it's right inside of you.
Yes. Oh, see? There's all the hearts. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
And when I'm doing, when I'm doing my job, when I'm being an intuitive for people, usually the person's guidance is screaming at me because they're so excited to be heard and be a part of that experience with them.
And we're going to talk about the work in a minute.
Right.
That work. And that's where it comes. And I'm going to tell you something. That this did not just come like that for the two of us. Okay? This came with work.
Yes.
W-O-R-K, which we're going to
Yes.
talk about here in a moment. But before we do, I need to ask you if you could just move this out of your mic. That's good. Because I know it's going to cause issues later. Okay?
Ta-da! Here we are.
There we are.
That's
our messy love yourself, right?
It's in the moment. It's in the moment, peeps.
Okay, so let's move forward.
Okay.
So let's talk about the work, all right? So when you are doing your work in the world and you're developing your intuition, the reason that you need to do your work, which we're going to talk about, it's all about increasing your vibration. Mm-hmm. So the higher your vibration goes, the clearer your intuition is. Period. That's as clear as I can get for you. Mm-hmm. So it's really about how do you access your highest vibration? How do you give birth to your greatest and highest self? Because what I say is this, each of us in our work should be seeking to give birth to our greatest and highest self. Mm-hmm. And stop and think about this. If we were all doing this, the whole world would rise.
Amen.
Let's just stop on that. And if you like that, give me some hearts, because this is an important aspect. Are you, here's your question, your coaching question. Are you seeking to give birth to your highest self? And if you are, then you already are like 90% way ahead of most people out there.
Yes.
So let's talk about the work and the way that we increase our vibration.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 9 ways that you do that, Candace.
Okay. So for me, there's the working ways people can develop their intuition. And so it's specific, but it's also tailored to every single person. And that's what's so great about learning, is that you can learn in your own capacity, right? And so my number one way...
Your way, not their way, but it could be.
Yeah, it definitely can be. Right.
Borrow it.
Yes, borrow it. The way that seems to work for me and the students that I have, number one is meditation. And I know that sounds woo-woo-y and it sounds hard to do, but meditation doesn't have to be sit down and do it. It could be doing a meditative walk. It could be putting headphones in your ears. It could be playing a tape in your car. It could be playing something while you sleep at night. Some sort of continuous you being present and staying still is very important inside of developing your intuition.
And not thinking about anything else, right?
Yeah, and your brain's going to come up with stuff, and that's the work.
Toss it out.
The work is that you go, thank you very much, I'll talk to you later. Like in 20 minutes. And it doesn't need to be for, hours and hours. It can be for 5 minutes a day, but creating a routine that you take care of you first and you do that self-work first. I think that we abandon ourselves. And so it's inside of you taking care of you first and filling your own cup up, and then filling other people's cup up and your life's cup up.
And letting the garbage go out of your head.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's your second piece?
Second thing is spirit guides. So everybody, everybody has a spirit guides that they've had since they were born. At least one, sometimes two. And those guides have a direct impact on you finding your passion and purpose. They are there for you 24/7, closer to you than your own breath, and knows you very well. And
were they assigned to you at birth?
Assigned to you at birth. Like there's no time where you are alone or away from them. They are there to be your nurturers, your protectors in life. Connecting to them, learning who they are. Learning the skills to learn what are their names, who are they in your life, how do they connect to you, how can I hear them, feel them, smell them, see them, is very, very important inside of developing your intuition.
And that's part of your work.
That's part of your work.
Good.
And then number 3, learning to say no. Learning to say no. The universe is going to give you lots of opportunities. And some of those opportunities is the universe saying, do you want this or do you want this? And we have a compulsion as humans to say yes to everything. And then we stockpile all these yeses that don't belong to us. And we have no room for the yeses that the yeses that actually belong to us. It's doing a garage sale of your life and saying, nope, this doesn't belong to me. Power. This doesn't belong to me. Exactly. And so learning to say no. So that's part of the work. Number 4, tools and boundaries. So it's learning how to set boundaries. So when you are doing this kind of work and you're opening yourself up as a medium, as an intuitive, as a psychic, there's certain ways of setting boundaries and protecting yourself from things that don't belong to you. And so that's very positive and very powerful. And number 5 is teachers. It's important to have teachers.
Like us.
Hi. Teachers. People who have already ran through the fire so that they...
We're just examples of
Yeah.
what they could be.
Exactly. Examples of what they can be, and
What's possible.
and people that will point. You know, I think sometimes we need pointers. And in my life, I've had a dozen or more different pointers that have directed me to the place that I am today because I'm in the right place at the right time and I asked for it. I think that teachers are human spirit guides.
So is there a thought that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear?
Yes. Yes. Good. Okay.
All right.
Number 6 is trust. So trust is tricky because your brain has to trust. And so you need lots and lots of confirmation. And your spirit guides want to give you lots and lots of confirmation. And so it's learning how to develop trust through doing specific things that develop a relationship with your guidance that show up in your life in a very tangible way. If it isn't something that is very factual to me, I don't connect to it because I come from a place of always wanting to have integrity and honesty and truth. And so in doing this work, it comes from that place so that you're always telling yourself the truth and therefore you can trust it. Number 7 is confirmation. So just what I said. So having confirmation in your own life so that when guidance comes to you, you feel like you're home. You feel like this is right. And it feels right to you in your own heart. That's super important. It's super important. Number 8, going to the gym. Okay, so going to the gym is this course that we're going to talk about at the end here. So stick around for that. The gym is showing up. The gym is doing the work, like Richard was just saying. The gym is you doing these steps that get you in the right direction. When, you know, it's intuition is a muscle. And just like if you go to the gym and you bulk up, you know, you can do that when you can also do the same thing with your intuition. I go to the intuition gym every single day. And
that's what you just said.
Yeah.
All those things before were your gym.
It's my gym.
Right.
And number 9 is self-love. And I'm telling you, the relationship that you gain with your own self when you develop your own intuition is extraordinary. You realize your passion and purpose, and you realize your purpose in the world, and something opens up in your chest. Something opens up inside of you, and you realize why you're here. And you can't help but love yourself. It's extraordinary. So those are my 9 things.
So those are your 9 ways that you go to the gym.
100%.
That's your work.
That's my work.
So Candace has to do her work to be where she's at.
Yes.
So let me talk about another concept of work. And so here's what I know, is that I found that there is 9 ways that we can do our work. And I think that what's the most profound thing is that we got to know what pathway to take. So I know for myself that so many of us are put on pathways that someone else told us was our pathway. Right?
Yes.
Like, how many of you know that, you know, this is a common thing I hear all the time, and that's, you know, go get a job, get good benefits, get a good 401, and you should be good.
Yes.
And then you're like dying of complacency inside
Yeah.
because you're on the wrong pathway.
Yeah, who told you that that's how it's supposed to
And
go?
there is no intuition in that. You just, maybe your intuition's screaming to get the hell out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you don't know how to because you're trapped.
Right.
So what I'm going to propose is that we look at the 9 pathways, and what they are is this. And these are actually my pathways. And so Candace talked about her pathways, I'll talk about mine. So the first pathway you could take is a contemplative pathway. A contemplative pathway is that, for me, is that I know that my intuition has something it wants me to know. And so what happens for me, I start to get internal. And my internal process usually is journaling, reading, being deep into myself. It might even be getting quiet and meditating. It might be prayer. It could be yoga. It could be just spending time with my animals. Or sometimes one of my contemplative pathways is even cooking. And when I'm in the kitchen, I just find myself sort of getting what I would call downloads.
You're an excellent cook.
Thank you. I really am a good cook.
Yeah, he's a good cook.
and I actually love it. And so it's weird because we think that, I got to be contemplative. Mm-hmm. There's so many ways to be contemplative. So that's my first pathway. Mm-hmm. The second pathway is then nature. So what happens is that I get all this information in those pathways and that work I was doing, right? And then I usually have to go somewhere and get quiet and really go to that place where I'm connecting to nature. And I'm connecting to a tree, or I'm connecting to the grass, or I'm connecting to the woods, or whatever I might be connected to. And that feels like it just up-levels all those downloads that I already had in my contemplative process while I'm journaling, or I'm writing, or I'm cooking, or I'm whatever. And so it's really important that I find that place to go to, that I can go into that nature space. And here's the thing, is that we don't have to go to the woods, right? I have a beautiful backyard that has trees and hibiscus and different things. And so I sometimes will go, and it's weird, I know this is weird, I love to weed. I like to pull weeds. Yeah. And it's weird, I'm just connected to the ground, I'm pulling weeds, and there's another contemplation, but I'm connecting to the earth. My third pathway is then what I would refer to as ascetic. An ascetic pathway is the pathway of absolute, complete silence.
Yes.
Oh, God, give me the silence, right? Like, I don't want to hear another human being. I don't want to hear a plane. I don't want to hear a helicopter. I don't want to hear a fire truck going by. I want to be put into a room where I can now take everything that I was contemplating, that I'm now in nature. And I think that's why nature and aesthetic is so perfect, because they
complement each other.
They're like complementing each other.
Yeah, they're the same.
Most of the time, if we go to nature, we're looking for that quiet time.
Silence.
Right? So I'm just going to stop there, because that is the three ways. And I'm just going to, I'll hit the other talk, but I'm not going to talk about it specifically. So the 9 pathways are this. So we could go contemplative, we could go into nature, ascetic, which is to be in complete silence. We then go to an intellectual pathway. A sensate pathway is where we need to get into a stimulation, like we need to get into like inspiration. What that means, I don't know. It could be a concert, it could be church, it could be something, music. Then we need to go and become enthusiasts, which means we got to go out and like talk about it and share it with other people, and it helps bring that intuition up.
Oh yeah.
Then sometimes we have to go and care for other people, which is the caregiver pathway. So when we're caregiving, we're actually supporting other people, and we're moving our energy in different ways. Then sometimes some of us need to go to the traditionalist pathway, which is like we may need to go to like church, or we may need to go to mass, or we may need to go and light a candle, or we may need to do the same thing we've always done. That's a tradition that brings our intuition up and out. And then the last pathway, which is really weird, is activist. And the activist pathway I thought was really weird, Candace, because I thought, how does activism propel my intuition? And what I found is that I'm speaking up for something that I believe.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that I have to throw darts or throw fire. It's that I'm going to speak about something that's really important to me.
Tell your truth.
It's my intuition coming up and out of me saying, speak your truth. So those are my pathways and my work that I would also encourage you to do with yours. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing tonight. So we are here tonight, and we're bringing you, if you haven't figured this out, a ton of value, right? We are master teachers. We are transformational educators. I've been doing this for 20 years, all over in Seattle and Arizona, and my books and everything I'm doing in SLCT Online. And Candace does this professionally all day long. So we've got 25 years.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of stuff. So what are we doing tonight?
So what is so exciting is that Richard and I formulated a class called Developing Your Spiritual Gift and Becoming Your Own Intuitive Guide, where you can, in 5 weeks, connect to your own guidance, connect to your own intuition through video, through audio, through verbal, through connection, through community, through all of these different, through worksheets, through working on stuff, through working on other people, through class work training.
It's a massively formulated 5-week course that's designed to specifically help you develop your intuition.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, it's powerful work.
Yeah, tell us what's in the
So we're going to
sections.
talk to you a little bit about the 5 sections that we're offering you guys tonight. And the deal that we're going to give you tonight is going to blow you away. And the best part is you get to connect with Candace personally in a little bit. So so these courses are designed to guide you into developing your spiritual gifts and your intuition and become an intuitive guide for yourself and for others at the same time.
Right.
So could you profit from this? Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're teaching you how to do this with other people so you can become someone like Candace if you choose to. So in section 1, we're going to be talking to you and teaching you the introduction to intuition. So things like what are spirit guides, the steps to intuitive readings. We're going to be taking you through guided meditations and give you a whole bunch of recommendation books. Section 2, we're going to be connecting you to your intuition and teaching you the 6 pathways to activate your intuition. We're going to give you grounding techniques, centering and clearing techniques, and also how to overcome blocks and ways to protect yourself intuitively and spiritually.
Valuable.
It's amazing.
So valuable.
The third week...
So incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, right there we should stop.
Yeah, right there we should stop. But let's keep going.
So what's our third one?
Okay, so third one, amazing. The third week is you are learning how to create a sacred space in your own life. You are learning how to connect to your spirit guides, like tangible, practical. This isn't like, oh, connect to your spirit guides. This is practical ways that at the end of this, you connect to your spirit guides. Learn and discover how to communicate clearly and fully with your guidance.
And then the section 4 is going to be about trusting your intuition and how to get out of its way. And when we say it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
I had a student in class ask me, like, is intuition a thing?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
But it's hard to put words to it. So get out of its way, and that's teaching you how to connect to your own spirit guides and how to use those for making everyday decisions and a detailed 8-step protocol for every intuitive session. So this is what's amazing is that you're like, well, how could I possibly do these sessions for somebody else? We're going to teach you. Candace is going to teach you verbally with actual videos of teaching you how to exactly go through a protocol for every single client session. And she'll show you through video and walk you through them in audio, right? And it's powerful.
Yeah, and in the last week, after going through 4 weeks, a whole month of personal training, the 5th week is experiencing and sharing the gift that you have, developing your gift and sharing it. And so I show you a video of me doing doing an intuitive counseling session. You get to work with exercising and test, and so that you can develop your own intuitive gift and practice and have self-reflection. This is a great time for you. At that point, you feel you've had so many tools, you've been given so many tools that you feel like that you can do it as well.
And here's the thing, guys, you don't have to do intuitive sessions with others.
No.
The point of this, it's personal, professional development simultaneously and spiritual development.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times you're going to take this and go, I just want to learn about my intuition. Great. And then what happens? Just imagine, what if you developed your intuition so profoundly and you got so clear that you have this, and I know if you're here, you have an intuitional, already a knowing within you.
Yes.
So what if you could use your life for the greater, higher good in the world? Or maybe you just want to just take it for personal reasons. So it really depends on what you do. You don't even have to make that decision right now. Right now, it's just a matter of showing up and doing the work and see where it takes you. It's like dancing in the mystery. We don't know where this is going to take you, but we do know that this course, the work, is going to profoundly shift every aspect of your life. Every aspect.
Yes.
How could that be a no-brainer for you?
Yes, it's a no-brainer. And,
Right?
the thing is that so many people have taken this already, and I work individually with every single person.
A lot of people have taken it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and how to develop. And at the end, it's the same result. You feel like you're connected. You feel like you have a personal assistant in your own life. You know what your guidance is and who your guidance is, and you propel your life forward and transform your own life. into the life that you really want. You manifest what you want. And so that's what's so extraordinary about this wonderful class. And this is what I would say. So normally this class is, is $300. But tonight and for the next, till Friday, at the end of the day on Friday, it is going to be only $199. And the link is at the top.
Cheap.
Not only do you get this
Not
course,
cheap.
this 5-week course, not only do you get this 5-week open enrollment online course.
And that's the thing, is it's open enrollment and it's self-paced.
And
so
it's yours forever.
You just get it and then you just do it as you want. You can go back, you can take it over, you can start over, you can start when you want, you can pause, you can whatever.
Yeah. Not only do you get that course, but you also get a manifestation kit, an audio meditation with me, and you also get an attitude for gratitude journal, and you'll get a free 30-minute phone intuitive counseling session with
Candace.
me. With me, that
Wherever
I will
you may
book
be.
with you. I will book with you within 24 hours of you purchasing it. And so the link is at the top. If this is something that you really want to connect with in your life, if this is something you really want to jump forward, to propel forward in your life, this is usually $439 worth of value. And for the next 3 days, till Friday at 11:59, it's going to be $199. You get a 5-week online course. You get a 30-minute phone intuitive counseling session with me for free. And we work on anything, we talk about anything that you would like. And you get this manifestation kit. You get an audio meditation so that you can manifest the things that you want in your life. And you get this wonderful journal, and it's all right away, and it's so extraordinary, and I'm so excited about this. And the combination of all the above, you save $240. And so usually it's so much more. And so this is the time to grab onto it. And the coupon code is at the top there.
I am intuitive.
Yeah, I am intuitive. All caps. When you go in and you push the link, you go in to pay in full, and you put in the coupon code, I am intuitive.
Paid in full. Make sure you do the paid in full.
Right, or else it won't take the coupon code.
Right.
You put in the coupon code, and the class is yours. And I within 24 hours make an appointment with you, and you get to have a free session with me. And you immediately, within 24 hours, get a manifestation kit and a journal. And we start working one-on-one. You become part of a community. Not only is this class just some online class, but you're a part of a community that works together, and you can develop your own spiritual gifts and develop your relationship with your intuitive guide. And I work with you every step of the way.
So the beautiful thing about this is that not only are you going to be developing intuition and helping others people do the same thing and help to work for the greater higher good, but you're going to be involved in a community of like-minded souls, just like you. And maybe this is a brand new conversation for you. But I would promise you that there are people in Seattle, there are people in Phoenix, and there are people all over the world that are taking this course simultaneously, and you won't be alone. You're not going to be alone. And I'm involved in the course, Candace is involved in the course, and how could you go wrong? So all we're asking you is, we've given you a ton of value, that you spend a little bit of time, go to the website, check out Candace's video where she talks about it. You can look at the entire curriculum and find out what she's offering. And the best part is you're going to get to spend 30 minutes with Candace for free. And I promise you, for those of you that have ever done readings with Candace, if you've done readings, give her some love and validate how powerful she is and how spot on she is. And just, we thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Thank
Was this
you.
fun?
It's super fun. It's super fun. Like, thank you so much for showing up. That's the whole piece. In life, it's about showing up. And you showed up.
Do the work.
Yes. And I'm telling you, check out this course, because it's not something that isn't tangible. It's something that at the end of it, you feel empowered. You feel like you're connecting to your own guidance in your own life and propelling forward, not just in your career, in your relationship, in your finances, but you feel like you connect to your passion and purpose. And I am excited about this, and I am so glad that we had this chance to share it.
So here's my invitation to you as we end this night. We say thank you, thank you, thank you for spending time with us because you didn't have to. And we know that life's going on, but we just ask you, and this is what I say to every single person at any of the courses I teach. Seek to give birth to your greatest and highest self. And this is one of those options. This is one of those avenues. And that we're both living examples of two human beings that are in our highest, greatest self. And I am Richard Seaman, founder and director of Seattle Life Coach Training, SLCT Online, and this is
Candace Parisi, and I am a intuitive counselor, intuitive teacher, and it's my passion and purpose to be here, and I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, so we love being with you guys. So again, slctonline.com. Check out Candace's course, $199. 5-week course, and you're going to get a ton of stuff, including a private reading with Candace, and you can't go wrong. Why not just do it? So we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and we now release you, and we appreciate everything you did today.
Yes.
Yeah, you too?
Yes,
All
absolutely. Right. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and thank you so much for being here.
You too.
Yeah.
Good night. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.